Hi there folks, my name's Nova24 and welcome to a rather special bit of I don't know, is this a vlog? Is this a preview? I don't know, it's a bit of an interesting one. Okay, so, as you probably guessed from the title, I was very fortunate enough a few weeks ago to be invited by Microsoft to have a sort of an advanced look, a sort of preview, if you will, of their upcoming flight simulator, and I'm here to give you my thoughts and my impressions about it. So, first off, I'm going to actually say that if you want a really sort of fairly in-depth sort of on the day impressions, I'm going to point you over to the Three Grumpy Simmers episode that's gone live just before this. I'm going to send you there because it was a chance that that Sergio from helisimmer.com and Drew Belgioed from the Belgio channel, the three of us actually managed we managed to actually be in the same place for this event, and so we combined our combined grumpiness and actually sort of our flight simulation experience and actually sort of put an episode together. It was very late. It had been a really long day, but I think we covered off a lot of the points there. But I do want to cover off a few other things and sort of do a few other highlights here just quickly as well. But I'm going to direct you over to that episode. Grab some popcorn, grab your drink, grab some popcorn. It's a 90-minute episode. I highly recommend it to have a look at that one. So sort of a lot of stuff, a lot gets touched on in that episode. But I'm going to use this sort of my sort of side here to actually sort of analyze a few things on my own, and probably and look, I know I tend to get a little preachy from time to time, and there will probably be some preachy moments coming through in the next sort of few minutes as I do this episode. But yeah, I want to do this as my side of things. But I just said, do point you over. Highly recommend it. Go have a look at the episode to get all three of our opinions and where we get throwing and where we sort of think that this sim is going. Right, on to my thoughts here. So as I said, I'm going to cover off a few of the things that were covered off in the episode, but a few other things are just a few personal thoughts on what Microsoft showed us. So I'm gonna start by saying that I want to say thank you very much to Microsoft for giving me the opportunity to have a look at this, and but more importantly, I want to say thank you to every one of my viewers who actually come in and watch what I put up. I'm very grateful to you, and very grateful for the faith you put in me for all the things that I do. So thank you very much for that. Um, so on to what I saw and what I experienced. So I'm sort of anticipating that in the background you're probably going to be watching a lot of the content that Microsoft made available to us. It was a bit unfortunate that we weren't able to capture our own content, but I do want to sort of go through a few of my impressions. So um, firstly, it's not finished. I mean that's the thing, is that it's very much alpha stage at the moment. But if this is the quality we see in an alpha, then wow, holy hell! Um, Graphically, is it as hyped up as it should be from the trailer? Yes, yes, it should be. Oh, yes, it should be. Graphically, it is just it's really interesting actually, because we got a chance to play. So the environment that had us in. Was a sort of semi-offline mode. They cached a lot of areas and then sort of allowed us to go playing. So we actually sort of got to see and explore some of the modes they have. So speaking of, so let's probably start with the always-on connectivity that a lot of people are afraid of. So there is the ability for you to have completely offline. Let's clear that up straight away. You do not have to be online to play this flight sim. You don't have to. Let's clear that up straight away. So you can choose to have it in one of three modes. You can have it sort of completely offline, where it uses pretty much a similar idea to what it's done previously in in X-Plane, in FSX, in Prepared, insert your name of your favorite flight sim here. It will use geotypical textures on top of a high resolution terrain mesh, using data of over 40,000 airports. So there's a significantly larger number than airports than there were previously in the database. So You would get geotypical textures for the area based on the land class that you have, and still give you a good experience, and you have the entire world. So there's that. Um, Next one you have is you have the always online mode. Now, always online, it's what it does is, I said, you're still rendering everything locally, so you're not sort of downloading pre-rendered tiles of ortho imagery or anything silly like that. It's simply what you're streaming is you're streaming the data about what the engine should render in that particular space in the world. So that would be sort of that's things like the land class data. It's like, what building should I have there? How should I draw this? And at the same time, yes, it will say, draw this texture, this photo real texture. So in some ways, yes, it will draw it, but it also does say, yes, it'll draw the binary data to then raster the image actually onto your screen. So there's a lot going on there, and that will potentially chew up a fair bit of bandwidth. And if you've got a really good internet connection, that's the one you're going to go with. The third mode is sort of a bit of a hybrid one, which is where you can actually where apparently it'll say you can pre-cache an area. Now this one is sort of we didn't get a lot to go into this one, so as I said, I'm going to take these words on faith at the moment from developers. And apparently this is the mode that we were running in. We were running in pre-cache, so they actually pre-cached several areas onto the PCs that we were using to actually simulate with, and then other areas, once we went outside of that, it was using the offline mode, the sort of texturing, and that part I will believe when I went looking in Australia. So what it does is it'll pre-cache, it'll actually stream all the super high quality data from online, and then it will store it on your hard drive for you to go and fly with later. So I guess the important part of that is that you do not have to be online all the time to do it, and you don't have to be online at all if you choose not to be. But you have the option of getting, if you know where you want to fly, you can get the higher res, the better, the Gucci experience, as it were, to actually sort of be able to go to those areas and enjoy that as if you were online. So that's probably a good takeaway for that one. So that's the major point I want to cover off on that one. The next major point that I want to cover off is this whole and it's a valid concern, and it's a concern that I put forward straight away, considering that it was launched with Xbox Game Pass. Is, what's the price point? Is it a subscription model? Bottom line is, we don't know. That was a question that was asked by a lot of people at this event, and the fundamental answer was they haven't decided yet. They are determined that it is. Well, let me rephrase. They've determined that it's not to be. They don't want it to be a subscription product. They want it to be a one-time only buy. They've also made the point of saying that microtransactions is not where they want to go. They don't want to go down the path of microtransactions like we saw with Microsoft Flight. So, which is a good thing. So they've said that, when you purchase it, you will purchase a complete sim. What that means in terms of, will there be add-ons to purchase? Yes, there will. Will it be microtransactions that if you want to do anything, you have to make a small purchase? They've said they absolutely do not want to go down that path. They absolutely do not. Will there be a subscription-based model to go alongside the one-time buy? They said they don't know. Why would they? Why would they not? So I guess the key part is, they said that, they want to have, one-time buy to be able to have the the whole world, the whole sim experience. You can have that. Now, in terms of, will there be a subscription model? Now, they said they didn't say whether there would, there wouldn't. But the fact that there are SIDS and stars are included with the sim, then that to me tends to lend itself to the idea of that maybe there will be a subscription of some description to be able to keep up some of that data. I don't know. It wasn't confirmed. As I said, this was not confirmed. This is purely speculation now. But it's just some of the things that you put together and see and go through what you see. So for those who are thinking that it's going to be it will always be a subscription model and you'll be at the mercy of the subscription, no, you won't. The intention is that it will be a one-time only purchase for the sim. Some features may require subscription. just in the same way that for those of us who sim at the moment, Navigraph requires a subscription if you want to keep up to date. And let's be honest, Prepared essentially is a borderline subscription service, with us having to fork out and rebuy the product every 2 years or so. So there's that. I want to sort of those fears were somewhat allayed, but at the same time it wasn't finalized. The next big thing that everybody else is asking about is, what specs of machine will I need to run on? Again, they don't know. They haven't determined. They haven't made final determinations yet on what the minimum specs will be, because at the moment they're just wanting to develop. They are, as I said, this is still an alpha product. This isn't even in beta stage. Just remember that the alpha, that the build you're signing up to help, and I do highly encourage everyone to help out if you can, and it just make sure you go into it with an open mind, please. Is that this is a tech alpha that you're signing up for. You're not signing up for a beta. You're not signing up for a release candidate. You're signing up for a tech alpha, which means there are bugs, and yes, there are. We found them. So just bear that in mind when you are getting in the ground floor to actually really help shape the development of this. So please come in with an open mind. Now I want to get onto that and say that this is, again, reminding everyone that this is an alpha. What we saw is very much a work in progress. It's incredible. It looks amazing. It feels amazing. What they're doing is incredible, but it is still not ready for release. It is still a work in progress, and I want to make sure that everyone's aware of that, especially when you're signing up for that. So for all those people who love bagging out everything that comes along, it's just hilarious. Some of the stuff that I see on the forums and on various groups and whatever is absolutely amazing. But just how much vitriol people want to spout, it really is incredible. Be happy that there is somebody wanting to develop in this space. Yes, okay. So yeah, I really want to cover that. Yeah, this is an alpha. This is a work in progress, but it looks absolutely incredible. Now, beyond that, what is this? And I guess that's sort of the elephant in the room. One of the elephants in the room when it comes to Microsoft Flight Simulator is, what is it? Is it a game? Is it a simulator? What is it? Of course, the whole thing being announced with the fact that it's going to be available on PC and on console. There was a very vocal part of the community. I'm not going to say whether it's a majority or a minority, but a very vocal group in the community instantly slated the hell out of it, because how dare they? How could it be a simulator if it's on a console? Well, what's a console? Except a computer that's geared towards graphics and physics. Bottom line, that's all a console is. All a console is, it's a PC that runs a proprietary operating system and limits what you can install on it. It's still a computer, just saying. What is this? Is it a game? Is it a sim? Okay, it is a sim. I cannot overstate that, understate that, sidestate that, whatever. It is a simulator. The depths of the simulation that this goes to is mind-boggling. It really is. So, and that's something that I really want to leverage off here, guys. The amount of simulation that's going on here under the hood is just insane. So we want to talk about simulation for a second. Okay, so let's talk about simulation. So let's talk about individual particles of air and water being modeled and how they interact with each other to form clouds. Let's talk about that, shall we? And that's what we saw. We saw that in action. So we saw that in action. We saw it change. You actually sort of see the different levels of cloud, and the fact that light will stop at if there's a cloud there, light will be stopped by it and will not shine through to the layer down below. You will see that water droplets only form underneath the cloud. The fact that the couple of the screenshots that you'll see coming out of the releases today, and some of the videos you'll see, will be of rainbows. Now, that's not an effect file like we saw in FSX, in Explained. That's not an effect file. That is natively caused by the simulation. Now I'm going to let that sink in for a moment. Natively created from the simulation. Just think about that for a second. So this is not just eye candy simulation here now. This is actually simulating weather effects. This is the impact of weather, the impact of refraction of light, of physics going on here. And further to that, this is then interacting with the flight dynamics of the aircraft to actually have an ecosystem. This is mind-blowing stuff. This is the stuff that NASA could only dream of in wind tunnels and supercomputers not that long ago. And yet we're talking about being able to process this on your home PC. So is this a game or a simulator? No, it's a simulator. Absolutely 110% this is a sim. And it is designed for simmers. And we had the commitment from the dev team that we got to meet. Now, by the way, it's a thing I want to stress here, that during this preview event, we met developers, not spokespeople. Now, we were all concerned, those of us who arrived, because we thought we were just going to speak to a bunch of media PR people that had no idea what was going on. They were going to read from a set sort of statement, and that was it. No, we got to speak with the devs. We got to speak with the lead developers of all the areas of the sim and got to interact with them. They got to experience how we sim. They got to talk to us, what was important to us, and what's important to you guys as simmers. So that's something that to me really shows the commitment, the level of detail and commitment that Microsoft and Asobo are going to for us as a community. Um, so I really want to highlight that. So as I said, there's a slew of stuff coming out of here. They said there was a slew of there was a lot of big names at this preview event. So I wanted to really recap on a couple of those key points as sort of key takeaways. So not only is it graphically very beautiful, there is a lot going on here and the commitment. Now, speaking of the developers and commitments, one of the things that's come up and been commented about a lot is the fact that Microsoft left a rather bad taste in the community's mouth between how they exited from FSX to how they handled Microsoft Flight and the ostensible successor to FSX, previous successor to FSX, which was of course Flight Sim World. How that was all handled. There's a collective distaste in the community's mouth at the moment regarding Microsoft, and it's well deserved. And a key point about this is that Microsoft acknowledged that. They stood up. They stood up in front of us and said, "We messed up. We did not do ourselves any favors. We hurt things." They stood there and said and acknowledged that they hurt the community. That they, I wouldn't say betray, maybe not betray the community, but they definitely, well, actually, no, they did. They flat out acknowledged that they messed up, that they hurt the community, that they did the wrong thing with the community, with how they handled the previous products. And they are fully aware that they have to deal with that that impression in order to be able to move forward. So they're really striving and really working hard to actually prove that, and that's one of the reasons that they use to actually say that that's why they kept this under wraps since 20. They've been working on this since 2016, so they've kept this under wraps for 3 years before they came alive and announced it. Seriously, props to them keeping it under wraps for this long because nobody had any idea that it was coming. But they really are here for us as a community. But they know they have to earn our trust again because they know they did not do well in the past. Are they here for the long haul? I genuinely believe that they are, and they definitely talk the talk and walk the walk to say that they will be here for a long time. That this is a long-term and long-time investment for them. So am I still concerned? Yes, I still have concerns over what some of the stuff that we saw. Do I have concerns about where this could go? Absolutely. But everything that I've seen so far has said that this is going to be an incredible experience to have on your desktop. Um, One of the things that we got to do as part of this, that we got to do as part of this, is that the event took place in Seattle. Took place at Renton Municipal Airfield. We were all set up in an FBO with the rigs to be able to, so we got to speak with the developers. We then got hands-on with the sim in its current build state. We got hands-on with a Cessna 172, the Daiha turboprop, and we got hand with the DR 400. One of the things they want us to really do is they want us just to fly around Renton in the Cessna 172. The reason why they wanted us to do that is that we then got taken out into our own Cessna, our real life one, in the left-hand seat, and we would fly it under supervision of a private pilot, of an instructor, absolutely. But we got to fly it and experience it. So we got to experience it in the sim and in the real world. We got to experience the real world weather that the sim has. We got to experience the flight dynamics that the sim has in the aircraft that we would go up and fly. Then we went up and flew in the real world. We got to fly around Seattle, do a bit of sightseeing, explore Renton, come and take off, land, do all the cool stuff, and compare that between sim and real life, and then back and compare it to the sim again. And they nailed it. Just no two ways about this. They nailed this. That they absolutely nailed the experience. The buffeting of the aircraft. The fact that when you're flying over parts of, when you're flying over the ground, you will have a bumpy ride. People have this weird impression that, because flying a tube liner at 37,000 feet is absolutely so incredibly smooth. When you're flying, and again, this is where I'm going to get slightly preachy here. When you're flying a real airplane at 2,000 feet, at 2,000, 2,000, 3,000 feet, it's bumpy, it's rough, because you're flying over the ground, and the ground heats up at different rates. So when you're flying over a body of water versus when you're flying over a sports field versus flying over a tall skyscraper, you have the air does different things, and this simulation models all of that. That's what something crazy, so incredibly crazy and incredible about this, is that it's simulation. It models all of that, the different rates things heat up at, and the way the air behaves because of that. And when you fly over that, you feel that. You feel those bumps. You feel that sky. Oh, it was just incredible. It was also really great to get another hour in my logbook. If I'd known that, I would have actually brought my actual logbook to put in the extra hour in. If I'd known that, but I didn't at the time. They kind of surprised us on that, which is cool. So yeah, it's just, as I said, it is a simulator, guys. You just do not make no mistake here. It is a simulator. So what does that mean for when it goes on Xbox? I don't know. But as I said, it is primarily here for the simmer. But at the same time, they've made sure that, and one of their leading mantras and philosophies is no simmer is left behind. And it was very interesting, the key words, that phrasing they used. No simmer left behind. Not no gamer left behind. Not no person left behind. No simmer left behind. And that's a key, real, watching the driver of the developers, is that they recognize that there are people out there who've been doing this for a really long time. There are people out there who are real world pilots that use this and want to have this as a bit of fun, but also want to use it for more than just fun. It's an escapism. But they also recognize that we all start somewhere, and it has to be accessible to all levels that want to access this as a sim. So you can jump, you can hot start you can auto start the aircraft, absolutely. A single keystroke and your aircraft is simply up and running. Or you can start it cold and dark. By default, it starts cold and dark when you choose a non-runway starting position. Or you can just choose, I want to fly starting, I want to fly over the skies of London, and you just simply drag your map, click a point on the map and say start here, and you'll start engine on flying 5,000 feet in cruise. That's it, cool, done. So it caters for all levels of simmer. And I think that's really, really important, because that's something that um, sadly, I think a lot of members of our community forget is that we all started somewhere. We all started with no skills, with no knowledge, and we grew our knowledge by doing. So I encourage everyone that before you start writing stuff, before you start bad mouthing something, think about that first time that you ever took to the controls of an aircraft, real or virtual, and that joy and that wonder that you experienced. That's what they're trying to channel here, and I think they're doing a really good job about that. Um, I'm sort of not going to harp on too much about. I'm just going through my notes here. I sort of did this very much as an off-the-cuff video because I wanted to talk about it. I want to talk about my experience and my impressions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be writing up an article on my website, novawing24.com. That's going to go through a lot of key points, key takeaways, and stuff like that. That will sort of give you guys a sort of a play-by-play of some of the stuff to see and look for. I hope you've enjoyed the videos that have been flowing on around me, behind me, while I've been gas bagging, because, yeah, as I said, it's just some beautiful graphics are coming out of this. But I just said, just TLDR, this is a sim that's coming. Is it finished? No, it's not. My alarm's going off in the background there because I've got to go to work. One moment. Right. Yes. As it I can't remember what I was going to say. It's the problem is I break my train of thought now. Yeah, as I said, it is a sim, guys. And is it finished? No. But Amber, it's really exciting where they're going. It looks amazing. Some of the stuff they're doing is just absolutely incredible. As I said, I'm going to put a detailed article up on novawing24.com. Go and have a look there. Check it out for all the nuts and bolts kind of details. I hope you're enjoying the videos behind me. As I said, visually it is stunning, but the simulation that goes through, that's going in behind it, it's it, it, I'm probably going to touch on one technical part because I really want to cover this off. Is that so previously in the ESP sort of model, unless you used a external physics engine like what Milviz or A2A sort of do, then it's basically single point physics. And lookup tables to actually determine what's happening. So basically, your aircraft was a block. That was it. Then there's X-plane, which uses like the element blade theory, which gets a bit closer to that, but it's still more lookup tables. This style, what this is using in this physics model that they're using here is I'm trying to remember the name of it now, but basically it's small plane physics. Or small surface physics. So basically, they break up like the aircraft into hundreds or thousands of tiny surfaces, and each one of those surfaces is interacting with the one next to it, and also with the world around it. So we got to see a physics demo. Because one of the big tests that I always have for testing the physics and the flight model of an engine is being able to do a single wing stall. Is being able to stall a single wing, and I could do that in this sim, and there's only one other sim I've been able to do that in, and we won't talk about that sim that community killed. So looking at this, and funny enough, then I did that in one of our first sort of hands-on test experiences, and then they showed us a video of them and showing off some of the tech, and they showed us this small surface sort of physics and that they're using with their engineering test one. And they showed it, and they showed, funny enough, doing the same thing, doing a single wing stall of a Cessna 172. And watching it happen was just absolutely insanely amazing, watching this, and actually watching how the airflow interacts with each of the small surfaces of the aircraft. So there is so much going on here. They're really committed to making an outstanding product for all simmers, to be encompassing as well. As I said, guys, if you want some more detail, as I said, head over to my novawing24.com for some details going on there. Also, head over to stick on to my channel, look at the 3 Grumpy Simmers episode that's just gone live. There is a long, in-depth chat about all the features that we saw in detail about that sort of stuff. I hope there. So, guys, as I said, I just want to say that I'm excited by the new sim that's coming. I look forward to seeing more stuff coming out from Microsoft in the near future. All I can say is, guys, get on board. You want to be getting on board with this one. You really do. But just make sure you do it with an open mind, as I said, because as I said, it is still a work in progress. But there's so many features coming. It's just amazingly beautiful. It really is. Guys, don't forget, if you want to be part of this in growth and you want to be involved in this, don't forget to sign up for the Tech Alpha. Head over to the Flight Simulator Insider website and sign up there as an insider, and sign up and consider signing up for the alpha and beta testing as well. Alright guys, thanks very much for joining me on this quick overview on the upcoming Flight Simulator from Microsoft. My name's been NovaWing24. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.